Hi, this is Natalie Rydstrom from SBR Picks. Many sports bettors shy away from soccer and great tournaments like the UEFA Champions League because they simply don't understand some of the intricacies of this renowned competition. Now today we're going to run through soccer's greatest annual competition with the help of sports writer and SBR contributor Kevin Stott. Kevin, thanks for being here today.
Hey, Natalie.
Now let's start from the beginning with a brief introduction into what is the Champions League.
The Champions League is basically the continent of Europe's biggest soccer tournament. All the teams want to participate in the Champions League because it's very lucrative. It has the high TV revenues, and you can get money from being in the Champions League, which helps a team grow. Therefore, everyone aspires to be in it. But it's basically the top teams in each league trying to fit in either the top four spaces or top two spaces, the top two finishes in the league to qualify to get into the Champions League. So it's just basically a big tournament of 54 different associations of Europe, and it has like 7 different stages to go through. It's almost a year long, and it's very complex, but it's very interesting. It is the biggest sporting event over there in Europe.
Yeah, that's right. What exactly does it mean for a team to participate in the Champions League?
It means everything, Natalie. It means exposure. It means, as we talked about there, money. And it's pretty much everything. It puts them on the map. If a team, and another thing about the Champions League, these are only teams on the top tier of soccer. Like you hear a lot of people say English top flight. What that means is the Premier League, the top flight, the highest level of soccer, where people are getting paid the most, where the best professionals are in. There's different levels in each country. England has a bunch of different levels, and down the championship all the way down. And it's important that the Champions League is only about these top flight leagues in each European country, and it's just huge for them to like the bigger clubs like Chelsea or Barcelona, Real Madrid. They already have the money, they already have the things set in stone. But like for a smaller or a moderate or a mid-level European country to make the Champions League, it can get them huge amounts of revenue, get the attention, and then help build the club. Say like Monaco a couple of years ago. Nobody really knew about Monaco, right? Basically a principality. And then Falcao saw that they were doing good and they had money, so he went there. Then all of a sudden people know about Monaco because Radamel Falcao went there. Now obviously he's on Manchester United and scuffling, but that's just part of the reality is the prestige and the money.
Yeah, that's right. And what does it mean for a team, say, who made the Champions League the year before, for example, like Manchester United, and then obviously through their sort of bad year, they lost obviously Sir Alex Ferguson. They didn't make it through to the Champions League last year. How important is it for this year to try and get back into the Champions League? What does it mean if they can't get back in?
Well, I look at it two different ways, and it's weird maybe because I'm an American and looking at it that way, but there's a lot of responsibility for teams like Chelsea, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich for getting in the Champions League, because when you're in it, Natalie, it means you're going to be playing a lot more soccer. Therefore, you need thicker rosters. You almost have to have 2 teams. You almost have to have Czech as a backup. You must have Drogba, Loic Remy. You have to get guys that will help you play because you're playing in your regular league, the English Premier League, and then you've qualified for Champions League, and then you've got a lot of these leagues that confuse a lot of Americans, like or tournaments, the FA Cup, the Capital One Cup, friendlies. All these things confuse people in America for the most part. But I think the best way to look at it is most Americans are familiar with the NCAA basketball tournament. There are 64 teams that qualify for that tournament, a lot like the Champions League. Like a smaller conference like the Sun Belt is only going to get 1 team to go. So people can look at that as an analogy maybe. Like the Sun Belt gets 1 team that wins the conference title to go to the big dance. And the big dance in this analogy is the Champions League. So therefore, like a team from Greece might play good, win their League Cup. A second-level team could actually win the Cup in, like, say, Greece, for example, and then beat a first top-flight team in Greece and keep qualifying all the way up into the Champions League. So I'm actually wrong about it just being top flight. Second-level teams can fight their way into it, but it's an awful hard fight. It's It's almost the only way to do it is you have to win your league cup in your individual country. But these countries are so small. You see it a lot you see it in every country. But their budgets are incredibly small. We're talking about like maybe $35,000, less than maybe a great player would make in a week to try and run a second tertiary level club for a whole year. So the amount of money, is just between the levels is crazy. So that's why Barcelona and Bayern and Chelsea, why these giants are so big. They're really, I saw a term about 10 years ago when I first started getting into this called super clubs, and I gravitate towards that. I hope that they don't play in a league of super clubs because there's already enough going right now, but these teams are beasts. The Chelseas, the Manchester Cities, Juventus in Italy, they're just like small corporations, and it's very serious money that's involved here.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, the competition runs through a large part of the year. Please run us through sort of from start to finish for people who don't know about the Champions League. How do we start? How do we end up?
Okay, I'm going to do it kind of haphazardly fast because a lot of it just doesn't really matter. There's three qualifying rounds in the beginning. The first qualifying round is 6 teams, and these are just like Moldova and let me get my list here of the member associations. There's 54 member associations. These are teams like that hardly ever win a soccer game or a football game. Gibraltar, San Marino, Andorra, Armenia, Wales is 50th, Faroe Islands 49th, Estonia 48th, Malta 47th. So these are teams, Natalie, that have no chance at all of ever winning the tournament. But it's nice that they're in it. It is a continental tournament. They are part of Europe. And just for them to play in that qualifier or to have a chance to be in it, it means everything in the world to these teams, even though they're small. But yeah, the first qualifying round, there's just 6 teams, the 3 that win advance. And then second qualifying round, 34 teams. They pare down some more. People advance. Third qualifying round, same thing, 30 teams. Then they advance to the 4th round, which is called the playoff round. In that round, you have 10 winners from the 3rd qualifying round for champions, as well as 5 winners from the non-champions, the non-champions round. So all those teams are playing. For what I look at is when people start paying attention to the Champions League, the group stage. Mm-hmm. From that playoff round, they're playing to try to get into the group stage. That's the final 32 teams. And that's a good analogy, again, for the NCAA basketball championship. There's 64 teams. If an American can get out a chart and look at 64 teams and pare it down, they can certainly look at the Champions League group stage and see that there's 32 teams. One difference in the group stage, let me tell you about the group stage, who's actually in it, because this is when people start betting, this is when the media starts paying attention, this is when websites start writing about the Champions League. In the group stage, there's 13 league champions from the top 13 leagues. The top 3 countries in order that get 4 bids are Spain is number 1, England is number 2, Germany's number 3. That will probably always be the pecking order for a while. Those 3 get the first 4 teams automatically make it in. So, but anyway, the first 13 strongest countries in Europe in the association ranking, their champions automatically get in. 6 runners-up from the top 6 countries get in. Last year, that included teams like Barcelona and Liverpool that finished second in their leagues, believe it or not. And then in the group stage, 3 third-place teams from the top 3 leagues, those 3 countries, Spain, England, and Germany get in. Last year, that was Real Madrid, believe it or not. They finished 3rd. Chelsea finished 3rd in the Premier League. And Schalke finished 3rd in the Bundesliga. So those 3 teams all made it into the group stage by that route. Then you toss in, you have 5 winners from the playoff round, the Championship League, which could be some of these smaller countries, as well as 5 winners from the non-championship round. So that's kind of confusing, but this just basically means smaller countries, smaller teams, smaller associations have a chance to get somebody to make it to the group stage. And that's what ends up happening. So you might have an FC Basel from Switzerland or some of the smaller countries, not maybe as Ukraine is kind of big and Portugal's kind of big, but some of the smaller ones that are out that level. So you have 13 league champs, 6 runner-ups, 3 third-place teams, 5 winners from the championship playoff, and then 5 winners from the non-championship playoff to make up the 32 teams. And that's called the group stage. And that's where things get, all the little balls come out with the stars on them, the Champions League logo. They put them in the things, and then You can't have two teams like Real Madrid can't play Barcelona. All the teams are separated by countries, so it's better that way. And then they draw from the pots, and there's 8 different groups lettered A to H. 4 teams, 4 clubs in each group to make up the 32 teams. And the whole goal of the group stage is to be in the top 2 spots to advance to what we're in right now, the last phase, which is called the knockout phase. So those 16 teams are the teams that are going to finish either first or second in those 8 groups. And that's pretty much the group stage per se. The one thing that's confusing that needs to be pointed out is the goal differential. They play home and away in the group stage. So say, just for example, Chelsea's playing Juventus. They beat them 2-1 in Italy, and then they tie, or then they lose, or Chelsea wins 2-1 in London. So it's 3-3 cumulative. They go by road goals to see who advances. In that particular case, both teams would have scored 1 road goal.
Yep.
That's when games go to extra time. If nothing happens in that extra time, if there's dead flat or either still a 1 and a 1 or there's no market advantage in road goals. And by the way, I cannot stand the road goal thing. It's ridiculous. And the only thing worse than that is these kickoffs, or these determining a champion by penalty kicks, believe it or not. A guy that loves Didier Drogba, that's in the sport, that loves it because of that. I hate that reality. I don't know if it's an American thing, but I just think that they should play till they die, Natalie. That's the penalty kick thing is ridiculous, although it is very entertaining, as we saw yesterday in AFCON. But anyway, that's how you get to the 32. And then that's where we're at right now is the knockout phase, is the final 16 teams, the first and second place teams from the group stage. They take a little Christmas break, or obviously they're still playing soccer in between, which is something we need to talk about eventually, about why these teams are so tired. But so then the knockout phase starts here on the 17th and the 18th with home and away legs.
Okay, that's right. Obviously, round of 16. Then 8 winners progressed from that, moved to the quarterfinals, semis, and then obviously you get the winner of the Champions League. Now, there's a number of times to bet on the competition. The first is obviously before the tournament, when we often have healthy odds on the futures. Then we have match betting, and then another great time to bet is after the draw, when we move on to the final 16. Which stages of betting do you like?
Honestly, Nellie, I like the group stage, just because I'm the kind of bettor we've talked about. I'm the kind of bettor who likes to pick on bad teams, and I try and identify bad teams or teams that are struggling or teams that can't win on the road or teams that had an easy schedule. So once you get to the knockout phase, there's just too many good teams left in some sense. Although you can make money in the knockout phase. I like the group stage. The first 4 rounds, the first, second, and third qualifying and the playoff rounds, there's just not a lot of, it's not out in the public domain a lot. I mean, if you go to Odds Checker or if you have an account, I'm sure you can find bets on these things, but you really need to know if you're betting like a team from Armenia against Turkey, you're going to only have so much information, and what kind of edge do you really have in those early rounds? So I don't think only the pure 24/7, I talked about it in the article, only the soccer fanatic would be betting on those earlier rounds and even know where to find odds on those earlier rounds, because I'm imagining a lot of books don't put them up, and a lot of people don't take action on them because they're just so rare, and they're probably even rife for cheating and fixing in some of those early qualifying rounds. So I think the group stage is the best to bet on. The knockout phase is probably the second best. But this is a good tournament, Natalie, to bet futures. Like actually, the Europa League is a little bit better than the Champions League. But if you can find spots, you can create hedges. Like we talked about it last week. Atletico Madrid is a good team to possibly look at from this point out and then create a hedge. So the futures is a good thing to bet on, but the group stage is the best.
Right. Now, can you summarize the conclusion for our viewers who are interested in betting on the Champions League, and maybe give them some tips?
I think that I've pretty much done it all throughout the duration here. I think the best way to look at it is, if you don't know about it, is to simply compare it to the basketball tournament. There's 2 games as opposed to 1 game, and there's goals involved. But watching it is another important thing. Just watch the event to learn to do it. Or another way to do it here, I have in my notes, follow a team or a league. Make a small bet. Say it's Atletico Madrid, or say Porto. Say you're from Portugal and you want to follow Porto, who is an upstart team who can make some noise. Make some bets on Porto. Bet them home and away. Follow their scores. Read the box scores. Watch it on TV. And then follow them through the tournament. And then just grow a little bit year by year. It's a lot like muscle and connective tissue. You want to grow a little bit of muscle and then get slowly stronger as opposed to just, jumping in hands first and throwing money on something you don't know about. That's my opinion is follow someone like maybe Atletico Madrid, Porto, Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, somebody that you might be interested in. You have to have an interest in it to want to follow it. And you also, the important thing, Natalie, that needs to be said, you have to determine, am I doing this recreationally? Am I doing it for fun to make money? Or, am I doing it for fun, just to enjoy it for entertainment? Or am I doing this to try and make money? Most people probably do it recreationally, and it's always a good idea to not bet too much or not bet something you can't afford to lose, and have that perspective going in. So if you do lose, at least you know that was your frame of mind going in, that you didn't expect to, turn $100 into $500,000. You have to be realistic about it all.
All right, wonderful. Kevin Stott, thank you for taking the time today and telling us about the Champions League.
You're welcome, Natalie. Thank you.